My name's Justyn, and today I wanted to talk to all the group fitness coordinators out there, all the group fitness managers, about giving your staff feedback and how to be a leader to your instructors. A lot of you might not know, I actually used to be a coordinator. I was a coordinator over 3 premier facilities. In fact, I even opened the facility and was responsible for staffing the facility and creating a schedule and implementing programs at that facility. That was what I did. And I've since moved on from that and gotten involved in other aspects of fitness. One of the hardest things to do though was to always give feedback to instructors and to evaluate my instructor staff. And it was always a hard thing to do because you wanted them to grow, and there was always things that you wanted to kind of like, oh well, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore, and let's try and do this. And it's hard to give people feedback. If you think taking feedback's hard, it's hard to give feedback because you don't want to ever hurt anyone's feelings. So here are some tips that I learned, and hopefully they'll help you out. There are certain things to refrain from doing or saying when giving an eval or feedback. Among those are using the words like can't, don't, or anything that conveys a negative connotation. A good example of this is one of our facilities decided that they knew more than nationally accredited organizations, so they were going to do in-house trainings, and they required all the staff to attend this in-house training. Well, immediately after the in-house training, I had my entire staff call me on the phone in tears crying, saying that they couldn't teach anymore, they were a horrible instructor, they needed to give up all their classes, and some of these instructors were the all-star rock stars, best instructors you've ever seen. Praise them. I aspire to be like them type of instructor. And so I took what they said and I went to the corporate office and I'm like, okay, what was this training? What happened? And what they had said in the training was, don't be late to your class. Don't gossip or talk to members. Don't lift heavy weights because you might hurt somebody. Don't lift light weights because it's ineffective. Don't turn up the music too loud because it'll bother people's ears. Don't keep the music too quiet because then people can't hear it. And then at a certain point I'm like, okay, wait, whoa. What would a class look like if you followed all these guidelines? And it was a long list of guidelines. Well, what would a class look like? And they're all, well, that's up to the instructor to decide. The instructor gets to make up the class. These are just the things we want to see them do. And I'm all, well, there's nothing to do in this. It's just a bunch of things not to do. What would a class look like? And they're all, well, that's up to the instructor to decide. And then at that point I'm all, well, if you're telling them they have to be there early, but they can't talk to anybody, they're just standing there. If you tell them not to turn the music up, but they can't turn it down, they don't know what to do. If you tell them not to lift heavy, not to lift light, you're just taking things away from them. So avoid using the words can't and don't, and think about, instead of using can't and don't, how you can direct them to things you want them to do. Also, it's a good idea to refrain from using the words always or never in your feedback, because fitness is a huge gray area. To say you should never hinge forward in unsupported forward flexion, we know that that's bad for the lower back. However, what is that move? Oh, that looks like a swan dive in yoga. So can I not do swan dives in yoga? That's pretty common practice. So you have to really think, there might be gray areas to work with. So avoid always and never with your feedback. Things to go ahead and do in giving feedback, the top thing you can do always, acknowledgement. Acknowledgement in 3 ways. 1, the class that you go to and that you see, acknowledge something that they did specifically well in that class. And I'm not just talking about thank you for the great class. Acknowledge something they did specifically well. I liked how you offered this person a modification. I liked how you used that person's name. Something very specific, tangible, that you think they did well. Also, acknowledge something that they've gotten better at over time. So you know how they used to teach and how they teach now. Acknowledge a difference that they've made and a progression in how they have gotten better in their field. The last thing you want to do, and this one's kind of weird, is you want to acknowledge something outside their career. So you want to acknowledge a trip they took to Disneyland. You want to acknowledge their child's 5th birthday. You want to acknowledge the promotion that their husband just got. And what that's going to do is that's going to show that you care. And often, if you show somebody that you care about them, they're going to like working for you and working harder. So really caring about your staff, that's important. When giving feedback, look at the whole class as a whole And I used to be guilty of this. I used to have a long checklist of things that I wanted people to do. And think about it this way. If I was to tell you to direct a movie and just go direct a movie, could you go and just film a movie? But if I told you, hey, just go get a camera, and then you got the camera, and then I said, okay, go read a story that you like, and then you read a story, I'm like, okay, go find some people to be the characters in this story. And you found some people, I'm like, okay, now all of you get together on the same day. Okay, now go ahead and shoot this story with a camera. Oh, there, you can make a movie. And I know there's more to the process, but my point is that just give one thing. Let people just focus on one thing that you want them to get better at. So one thing, I would like to see you do this when you teach. Just one thing, and then you'll see that they'll be able to do that one thing because that's all they have to worry about. It's not this huge, long, oh my God, overwhelming list. It's just one thing. What you want to do is you want to set up a plan of action or a follow-up for that one thing. So determine amount of time. In 1 month, I'm going to follow up with you and see if you were able to do that one thing. And then you want to reward them for that. If you were able to accomplish that, if it's in your budget, give them a raise. If it's not, $5 Starbucks card, but encourage that they grow and get better. Also, you need to have consequences if they don't follow that, because quite frankly, teaching is a job, and if that person's not willing to grow and get better in the industry, you gotta find someone that's better. So maybe if they don't do it, you're gonna give them 2 weeks off so that they can practice. And then maybe if they don't do it that time, you're gonna give them a whole month off and then they can practice. Then maybe if they don't do it that time, you're gonna give them a whole quarter off and then they need to re-audition to get their class back. So there's ways to go ahead and get people, push them up in case they're not willing to do it. But the positive motivations tends to be the one that works better than the negative one. We don't like to go there. We just like to state that there are consequences as well as positive actions that will happen. Go ahead and doing this with your staff. What it's going to do is it's going to open a clear line of communication. If people know what is expected of them, clearly stated, if I do this, I will be rewarded. If not, this happens. It's going to open a clear line of communication for trust, and it's just going to make the job so much easier for everybody. It's also going to establish you as a leader because they're going to see that you have their best interest and that if they truly listen to you, they're just going to grow and get better in positive ways. And really, isn't that what we want for our staff, so that they can convey that to the members so that everyone can have a positive, uplifting experience in their workout? If you have more questions, go ahead and hit me up. I'd love to talk to you more. Thanks for watching.